All right, so shalom, shalom. So I'm coming at this again, this Deuteronomy 28 again, and we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 52 through 57, and then we're going to look at verse 68. And then we're going to go over to the Blue Letter Bible and see what this word redeem means, right? Where it says buy. We're going to see whether it means buy or redeem or sometimes both. And we're going to look at the writings of Josephus again, because I'm reacting to and responding to you Israelites in the comments on the video that I made. Deuteronomy 28 is not talking about blacks in America. I'm standing on that. I'm not confused, and I'm also not a liar. You Israelites told me that years ago that this was talking about blacks or Negroes in the United States of America, and I accepted that crap for years. But I realize now that you have lied to me, so let's get straight to it. And for those of you who say I have a condescending spirit, you might need to look up the word condescending. That means you act as if something is not important enough for you to even discuss. If this was not important to me, I wouldn't be talking. I would just let you stay ignorant and laugh at you like the other nations do. And you wonder why you're not being taken seriously. That's because they know you're ignorant. So Deuteronomy 28 and 52. Since you say that Deuteronomy 68 does not literally mean Egypt, before we even look at that, we're going to see if these verses mean what it say. Deuteronomy 28 and 52 through 57 totally debunk your argument that it had to be in the United States of America only where this took place. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates. That's talking about the Roman army in AD 70. The so-called white man, the Romans, Esau, Babylon, whatever you want to call them, until thy high and fenced walls come down. You ain't got no high and fenced walls in America, so I know you're not going to play games over here with that. Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which Yahweh thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat. Do you need me to look that up in Hebrew to see what that means? Because we can look that up too. Thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body. How many so-called Negroes in the United States ate their children because of slavery? Because these are part of the curses. So I ain't just talking about verse 68. I'm talking about verses 52 through 57. When did you Negroes in the United States who lied and told me that I was a cursed Israelite because of some slave ships, when did this happen to my ancestors? If you show that to me, then I'll believe it and I will retract all of these videos. If you don't show it to me, then you need to repent, right? Because if it was an honest mistake, you didn't know what you was doing. But if you know you lying, you sure enough need to repent, because the Most High gonna judge you for putting out this false doctrine. The flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which Yahweh thy God hath given thee in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom. How so? And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And again, that don't mean leaving the black woman as a single mother like you teach, like some of you lying Israelites teach, because you're the one that's ignorant and unstable and unlearned. This meant he was leaving his children in AD 70 in fear for his life. Verse 55, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. When did Negroes in the United States eat their children? Talk to me. When did this curse happen? So much so that the husband is hiding the flesh of his children from his wife. The delicate man hiding it from the delicate woman. And then we're going to read the delicate woman hiding it from the delicate man. You want to skip over these verses. We ain't having that nonsense. So this is more than about the antiquities of the Jews. This is more than about you accusing me of being condescending. This is about you lying like you don't see these verses. You know good and well we didn't eat our children over here. But if we did, show me the history. Show me the proof that this happened. Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. This is the feminine, delicate, tender sister. Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son and her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet. That's her baby that she pushed out. All right? And toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly. In the siege, meaning the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70, not the United States of America, and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates, meaning your land. Now we jump into verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. He said they wouldn't see the Egyptians again when he drowned them in the Red Sea. But if you break these laws, or namely if you reject Christ, because that's really what this is talking about. Because Christ told them to flee to the mountains, but they stayed there, or many of them came back to celebrate Passover unleavened bread, keeping the law of Moses, and they got killed. Because they trying to hold on to what's old when Christ bringing in something new. Let's continue. There you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Let's see what the word buy means. And then we're going to go back to the writings of Josephus, and we're going to see what actually happened. I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm going to read to you once again what already happened. So you can argue with history if you want to, right? But that's why people ain't taking you Israelites seriously. I see why, because I shouldn't have took you seriously. And I took you seriously over a decade ago and been listening to this crap, this garbage, where you around here hating everybody that's a Gentile, and your dumb behind don't even know who your daddy or granddad or great-granddaddy is. Yeah, let's get to it now, because now you are making me angry. See, I was trying to be peaceful, but don't get it twisted. That ain't what this is. You understand? Because if I didn't believe in this Israelite doctrine at all, I'd be going all the way in on you. So I'm trying to still believe that you Israelites at all. But the way you acting, you showing me who you really are. A bunch of regular Negroes trying to force yourself to be Israelites, and you mad because you're trying to figure out why you went through slavery. But if I show you where you enslaved some people in the past, now you're going to have a problem. Oh, yeah. It's history that showed Negroes enslaved some people too. What part of Deuteronomy 28 is that? But let's continue. Don't make me go there. So anybody want to debate, I ain't bringing out all of the stuff yet. I'm going to hide some of this truth that I know so that when you come debate me, you're going to wish you hadn't. So all of your insults, don't get it twisted. Ain't nobody shame over here, partner. I want that smoke. Because I'm tired of you lying to my people, going all over the country and all over the world teaching these lies. Let's continue. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy. There's the phrase, you. So we're going to look at this word buy, Strong's H7069.
Strong's H7069. Kana.
Anyway, so let's click on that. Now let's see what it means, because it's got more than one. So it says the King James Version right here translates Strong's H7069 in the following manner. Buy. 46 times in the Bible it means buy. 46 times. It means to get 15 times. It means purchased 5 times. Last time I checked, if you purchasing and you buying, that's the same thing. So if we put 46 and 5 together, that means 51 times when it's used, it's talking about an actual buying or a purchase. Buyer, related to buying, 3 times. Possessor, that's somebody that bought something or somebody, 3 times. Possessed, 2 times. Owner, 1 time. That's all about buying and ownership. Recover means to get back 1 time. Redeem 1 time. It means redeem 1 time. So it barely even means redeemed in the Bible. But you Negroes want to act like that's a normal meaning all the time. The vast majority of the time, it means buy or purchase, just as it is translated buy. It barely ever means redeem. Let me click on it to see where it actually means redeemed. What verse is that? Let's just see. Leviticus 25 and 30. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out in the Jubilee. See? Redeem. So when it means redeem, they tend to translate it as the word redeem. They're not stupid. But you want me to be stupid. You want me to think that you're the only one I should trust and not trust anything that's actually written in the Bible. You out your mind. You're trying to translate it for your own private interpretation. So, since it means buy or purchase 51 times when you add 46 and 5 together, and it only means redeem one time, it's more likely than not that it means buy and not redeem. But since you say that's what it means, we're going to go over here to the writings of Josephus again. And then if I have time, I'm going to pull up the fact that Negroes in America were redeemed from slavery. So they was bought out of slavery over here. So even if you force it to mean only redeemed, it still ain't fulfilled over here in America because people was bought out, namely Frederick Douglass. Don't get it twisted. They bought him out of slavery. So now, we're finna go to chapter 8 in the writings of Josephus. And let's see here. Let me see what part of it. Down here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Let me see, because it gets lost when I zoom in. Let me jump back. I'm trying to have this large so it's easy to read. This is AD 70. And after this, I'm no longer caring because you've been warned. This was actually a warning to try to help somebody. These videos, I ain't on here just trying to debate nobody. I ain't on here trying to cause trouble. I know that some people are being deceived, and I know some folks lying on purpose. You want to keep on lying? That's on you. But I'm just telling you, the Most High gonna call you into question. You out here lying about his word on purpose just so you can get people to join your camp. So we already know what it is. Watch this here. With their wives and children, and every one of them for a very low price. This is talking about the slaves being sold in Egypt for a very low price. You know why? And that because such as were sold were very many, and the buyers, not redeemers, buyers very few. So let's do a little economic lesson. If you got a few buyers and a whole lot of product for sale, what does that mean about some of your product? That means you're not going to be able to sell all your product. If I got 10 cars for sale, I don't care if they Mercedes Benz, Lexus, I don't care if they Corvettes, fancy cars. If I got 10 cars for sale, but I ain't got but 3 people that want a car, once I sell 3 of my cars, what's going to happen to them other 7? I'm either have to give them away, destroy them, because ain't nobody going to buy them because they don't want them. So let me read this again. With their wives and children, I mean, it's the Jews in AD 70. Every one of them was sold for a very low price, right? And that because, here's the reason, such as were sold were very many, and the buyers very few. So they was trying to sell Israelites in actual Egypt, and nobody even wanted to buy them because they ran out of buyers. That's why it said, there ye shall be sold, and no man shall buy you. Because at first you're going to actually get sold. Then after that, ain't going to be no more buyers to even want you. That's called a curse. But let's continue, because I know you ain't going to accept that either. This is for the people who you trying to still lie to, though, who want the truth, not your version of the truth. The people who want the truth, not your version of the truth. Now, if you're telling me that the writings of Josephus is a lie, then we got a whole nother issue. Because you the ones told me to buy this book. It was Israelites told me to buy this way back in like late 2010, early 2011. But as the years went by, I see holes getting poked in your doctrine. And now you want to call me confused? I done heard all of your lies about these curses. And I'm telling you, that's what you're doing. You either inaccurate, meaning you telling people untruths by accident, or you're lying on purpose. Verse 22. This innumerable multitude of Jews that were sold, thus fulfilling a portion of Deuteronomy 28 and 68, by the Romans were an imminent completion of God's ancient threatening by Moses. That ancient threatening is the curses in Deuteronomy 28. That if they apostatized, meaning went away from the obedience to his laws, they should be sold unto their enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. So they were sold, but then there was more slaves than buyers. So they were also not bought. No man shall buy you. That's how you can be sold and not bought at the same time. They sold you at first, then don't nobody even want your behind because they got an excess amount of slaves available. If that ain't a curse, I don't know what is. Deuteronomy 28 and 68 is quoted right here in the book. So if you're telling me that Josephus is a lie, then we got a whole nother subject to talk about. But if his book is a lie, my question is going to be why you tell me to buy it, and why have you been referencing this book for all these years for other purposes until it comes down your street and show that your doctrine ain't true. If this is a lie, then that means the whole story about AD 70 comes in question, right? Or you just going to say this part of Josephus is a lie, but the rest of it is true. See more especially the notes on chapter 9 and 2. But one thing is here peculiarly remarkable that Moses adds, though they should be sold for slaves, yet no man should buy them. So how you going to be sold and not bought at the same time? Because it means i.e. either they should have none to redeem them. So we already know the word one time in the Bible is translated as redeem. Or, right, they can't get redeemed from this sale and slavery. Or rather that the slaves to be sold should be more than were the purchasers for them. And so they should be sold for little or nothing. If somebody sells you for nothing, that means they gave you away. That means you didn't get bought. That means you was considered worthless and they didn't even want you. Let me say that one more time. If I give you a Corvette for $0, did I sell it to you? No. If you paid $0, did you buy the Corvette? No. So the Jews, the Israelites, were being given away for nothing because there was an excess amount of them available for sale. So Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was fulfilled in AD 70. So either you're saying that the book of Josephus is a lie, or you're saying that this, even though it already happened once, that it had to happen a second time in addition to this in America. Now, if that's what you're saying, then bring your receipts. Prove that although it already happened here, show me where we ate our children in the United States, because we're looking at Deuteronomy 28 and 52 through 57, not just verse 68. But last but certainly not least, for you that insist that the word buy in Deuteronomy 28:68 only means redeem, well then, what you going to say when you see that we were redeemed from slavery in the United States? Just a moment. Now, even though I didn't type a biblical search in here, all I typed was Negroes, let me let that disappear there, Negroes redeemed from slavery in America. Give me just a moment here. All right, so let's take a look here. It says, now of course this is the AI overview, but we can look at the history behind it. I'm just doing this to get to it quick. There were multiple ways that enslaved people in America were redeemed from slavery, including through Christianity, the Underground Railroad, and self-redemption. Deuteronomy 28:68 says, no man shall buy you. Now, I showed you in the book of Josephus, it meant literally that, because you're going to have too many slaves available, so much so that they had to be given away for nothing. If somebody give you away for nothing, that ain't no purchase. You ain't even being bought no more. But since you insist that this only means redeemed, then explain to me why Negroes in America could get redeemed from slavery through Christianity, the Underground Railroad, and self-redemption. Let's continue. Christianity. Many enslaved people embrace Christianity, which offered a message of hope and redemption. Now, we know how we feel about the so-called Christian church, but if you're trying to get out of slavery, they did whatever they had to do. The Methodist and Baptist churches attracted enslaved people with their emotional responses to Scripture, same way they do today, and worship styles that included spirit possession. Call and response, singing, shouting, and dancing. We know all of that. But they still use it to get free from slavery sometimes. The Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman was a well-known conductor on the Underground Railroad, making 19 trips into the South and helping over 300 slaves escape to freedom. Self-redemption. Many enslaved people, meaning so-called Negroes, paid for their own freedom. Paid for their own freedom. They redeemed themselves and then used their newfound freedom to help other enslaved people. After slavery ended, freed people worked to build a new society that conformed to their aspirations. They built independent black churches, which were symbols of their demands for self-determination. So no matter how you want to translate this word buy, whether you say it doesn't mean buy and it only means redeem, you still got to face the fact that Negroes did self-redemption here in the United States. And I'm saying it means actual buying, like it's showing you here. Because at first they bought them, then they were sold for little, then nothing. And if you pay $0 for something or somebody, that's not a purchase. That ain't buying, that's giving away. And that's the curse of Deuteronomy 28:68. That's why it says it here. But I still know. See, this is how Negroes are. No matter how much truth somebody shows you, when it's proving your doctrine wrong and you don't want to repent or you don't want to humble down, you want to attack the person saying it, you want to attack everybody else, you want to quote different scriptures. We ain't talking about Revelation. We ain't talking about Isaiah. We ain't talking about nothing else but Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, and how it does not match up with what happened in America, because all these curses, you said, shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And you know that ain't nobody over here got no records of them eating their sons and daughters, and the delicate husband hiding it from the delicate wife, or the delicate wife hiding it from the delicate husband. You know it, I know it. But if you got evidence that this happened, I will gladly and humbly smile and say, thank you, my brother. Now I know that these curses here happened to us. Now I just need you to show me why we was able to redeem ourselves. And if you want to act like it was so small that this don't matter, let me show you proof that that ain't right either. And this is going to be all for this video. In 1860, during slavery, there were approximately 500,000 free African Americans in the United States, making up about 11% of the total African American population. You know what that means? That means they was redeemed or they was never enslaved in the first place. What part of Deuteronomy 28 is that? And why were these Negroes not under the curse of slavery? See? You don't want to talk about that. Almost 500,000 free Negroes during slavery. And if you go back further than 1860, you're going to see that it was more than, it was always somebody free. Look at this chart. In 1850, when you only had 3.6 million of us here, 434,495 was still free. In 1840, when you only had 2.8 million of us here, 386,293 was free. In 1830, when you only had 2.3 million of us here, 319,594 free Negroes was here. I'm going to stop right there, because this is to edify those that actually want to know the truth, not just trying to push forward their version of the truth. So with that, you go take that with your condescending spirit and pretend like you know somebody ate their children over here. Explain that.